Okay, this question is a little bit evil. They're just doing a lot of different mean things at once here to kind of throw us off the trail of what's really going on. So my advice here is still the normal strategy for the writing section. Let's predict the question. Now, what we really want to do is we want to look at certain things in the choices, look at certain things in the sentence, and know the types of traps that they might be setting based on that. That's a lot of what predicting the question is about, is just kind of, yes, knowing the rules we need to follow, knowing whether or not we can trust our instincts, but also knowing that there are certain traps that appear with certain rules, and now we're thinking about them so we're more likely to avoid them. The most obvious thing here, I think, is that we're clearly making a comparison, right? I mean, the word compared is in the choices. So if we know that this is about comparisons, then we know that the SAT likes to create asymmetrical comparisons. Basically, we compare two things that can't be compared. So we need to think about that and be like, okay, what are we actually comparing here? We want to make sure it's consistent. So here, I'm going to start the sentence here, because everything that before that is just kind of leading in, but the sentence kind of really resets there at the butt. It also had an unintended consequence: increased song complexity in the Bengalese finch relative to that of the white-rumped munia. So what's being compared? We're saying something is more complex than something else, right? Well, the birds aren't more complex, right? It's the songs that are complex, right? So we need to make sure we're comparing the songs of the Bengalese finch to the songs of the white-rumped munia. So song to song, that's our comparison. That's what we really need to focus on. Now, let's jump to choice D, actually, because I think normally we gravitate towards shorter choices, so let's examine that one first. It's still comparing the song, right? That part's not going to change. That's the part before here. But when we say song complexity in the Bengalese finch relative to the white-rumped munia, well, we've lost the comparison. We are now comparing the song to the munia. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. So we're comparing a song to a bird. We want to compare a song to a song. The song of the birds, but the song is the thing that is complex. So this is creating a bad comparison. It's saying that the song is more complex than the bird. And that doesn't make sense. Birds are pretty complex. They got all sorts of organs and everything like that. But that's not what we're talking about anyway. And this goes to show why it's so important to predict the question, because if we were just going based on style, we might pick D, because it's the shortest choice, and we know that the best style on the SAT is short, and so without knowing anything else, that's probably just our best guess. But they deliberately wanted to trap us with this choice, knowing that we gravitate towards those shorter choices. So knowing that there's a rule here instead, it's a grammar question that helps us stay focused on what really matters and not get tempted by that kind of stuff. The next best thing might be choice C. It's a little longer, and actually it doesn't even fix the problem. So it's still comparing the song to the bird, right? It had an unintended consequence: increased song complexity when compared with the white-rumped munia. So it's comparing the song to the munia again. So you can see here, they want you to think that compared and relative, that's our decision, right? We need to choose the better word. And to be quite honest, compared is the better word. But that's misleading. That's a trap. They're trying to get you to think about the wrong thing. If we know the SAT, we know that this is not about that. This is about the symmetry of the comparison. And so even though choice B seems to kind of get closer, because it's got the word compared, which we prefer, and now it's referring to something besides the bird, right? Those of, right? It's referring to the songs of the white-rumped munia. But we're not referring to songs plural. We're referring to song singular. And so it's just the wrong thing. It's the wrong singulars and plurals. And that gets us to A, and it also kind of fixes a problem that I've been avoiding. We're not really talking about the song either. we're talking about this whole idea of song complexity. I've been rewording things just to make things a little easier. We're saying the song complexity is greater than the other bird's song complexity. So the song complexity of the finch is greater than the song complexity of the munia. So I'm going to add that word complexity. And I think we could have gotten this without recognizing that distinction and realizing that the bigger issue is song to bird, right? Where we don't want to compare a song to a bird. They're different kinds of things, but song to song is better. Complexity to complexity is better. The point is, now we have a singular pronoun to match the singular thing that we were talking about before. So it's symmetrical in lots of ways. The comparison is symmetrical. The pronouns are symmetrical. The fact that the word relative is weird, well, it's just a consequence of the question. That was an intentional choice that the SAT made because they know that we're going to resist picking the right answer. So they do this to throw us off the scent. And that's why sound, what sounds best, isn't a reliable way to sort through every SAT writing question. Sometimes it is. Sometimes we have no choice but to listen for the best answer and pick it. But if there's a rule, we got to turn off the part of our brain that cares about that. We need to predict that early on so that part of our brain is off and we're focused just on making sure the rule is followed as it's supposed to be. It's hard. It's a hard question. There's a lot going on here, but I think it's a good quintessential example of what the SAT writing section in general is really trying to do to you.